Hello, I'm part of this group on YouTube called The Rotten Spot, and I would, the theme of the video theme for this week is, technological horror, and, so I was having difficulty picking a film, so I thought of the film Alter States, which I'm going to be reviewing. It's from 1980. It's considered a science fiction horror, and it was directed by Ken Russell, and it stars William Hurt, Blair Brown, and Bob Balaban. Uh, so the film is about this young scientist who is trying to figure out he's trying to get into like a mindset of a schizophrenic. So he starts doing these tests with isolation tanks that deprive his senses, like his sight, his hearing, stuff like that, and he starts getting breakthroughs. But he's trying to experience like a religious experience. So he meets so basically it's the movie's about him trying to get this experience by what these tanks in these tanks, but he starts regressing back into like a primate. um yeah, the film is kind of confusing. I watched it a few months ago, but I still remember it. But there's a lot of weird imagery in it. There's like, I promise you have to be like high on something to watch this film, because there's a lot of like weird colors and uh, weird imagery. There's like a lot of weird religious imagery in it. Like there's like like a Jesus figure hanging on a cross with like a goat's head. Um, there's a scene where like, I don't want to give it away, but there's a scene where like, I think he goes to Mexico and he takes this drug and he starts tripping really bad, and like he starts seeing like this weird imagery, like him sitting in a field dressed up in a suit with a woman, and there's just like a bunch of weird imagery. uh but yeah, basically he starts doing these experiments, and he starts like the people he's working with, they don't want him to keep doing it because he's getting like injured during it. Like sometimes he doesn't make, like sometimes he passes out and he's like bleeding, and they're like worried, concerned about him, saying like, you shouldn't really be doing this. You don't know like how you should push the limits. Basically it's like don't play God kind of thing. But um there's this one scene where near the ending where like he regresses back into like this ape figure, and he starts attacking people, and he goes to a zoo, and I think he kills an animal. I forgot what animal. And like, that's probably like the only horror scene I can say in it. This is not really a horror film, but it does have a lot of weird imagery and like creepy imagery in it, so that's why I chose it. But yeah, and then there's also the scene at the ending where he's like going back, and he's like turning into like primordial substance or something, and he's turning all red and stuff, and he has to, like his wife is like has to bring him out of it so he doesn't disintegrate back. And like, uh yeah, I thought the effects were pretty good for 80s film. I know they're kind of cheap looking now, but I thought it was pretty good, like, for that time period. Like, the scene at the ending where he's changing, it's, like, all red. Like, he's, like, a red figure, and he's, like, crawling on the ground and stuff. It's really creepy. I would say that scene's kind of horror, too. But anyways, oh, there's also this one scene after he turns into, or, yeah, I think it's after, before he turns into the ape. Like, the inside of the lab turns all smoky, and it starts swirling around like this, like a whirlpool, and it was kind of a weird scene, but Yeah, sorry. I would recommend this film if you're into, like, science fiction or trippy films like that, but anyways, that's my review.